Thank you. All right, we've got a couple of lead agency declarations from the planning board. They are
Any of the papers over there
Deep.
for this Millicent that got passed around that I don't have?
your printouts.
I think I have everything.
The drawing is an important one for you to
Yes.
hang on to.
That's why I have them.
Okay.
This is a good copy.
Yeah, those.
The,
It's a sign. It's
no.
just,
When's it done?
declaring that.
Page
Right.
one.
All right, this has been circulated to us as an involved agency. There are two items that we have discussed here at different times. One is 24 John Street, which is going to be part of the boutique hotel system. You remember that one, I know it as law offices for the last 25 years. And 270 Fair Street, which was Mark Miller's building on Fair Street that they are changing the back of. We had that discussion at our meeting a couple of months ago. They're declaring themselves lead agency for state environmental quality review purposes for the special permits that each of these buildings are going to need for the use change. I don't see that we would have any objections for them taking the lead on this. We've had our say, and it is refreshing to be in on the early side of some of these decisions instead of being the last. I want to sort of put that in here and say that this is a better way for them to do it than they had been for years. So I'm really grateful that they're doing this. Would anyone want us to call special issues to their attention or are we just going to accept their declaring themselves lead agency?
I prefer the reading what I stated, because I mean, it doesn't
No, they are.
There's where it says it for you to sign and to return it back to, this, I don't see that.
There's a difference between involved and interested agencies to that regard as to
Oh, okay.
one must get approved from us, the other,
Okay.
they just have to warn us about it. These appear to both be just warn us about it
Right, okay.
versions. So we have this is our chance if there's something we really want to bring to their attention, we can do it now. But we've also had our formal say to the applicant on this one. And they've incorporated our comments. Is there anything extra we'd want to really call to the planning board's attention?
Well, those two projects will be coming, or at least one of them will come back around for final review.
That's true, 270, when they do a final design on that back parcel.
Right.
The seeker review is just the environmental impact on the project. It still has to clear your approval for the addition that they're going to remove and rebuild, so to speak, here on the back of that.
And we don't have any particular expertise in environmental quality review and stuff, to be honest.
And we already reviewed 24 John Street, so that's through.
You were
I don't think
proposing
that-
24 John, you never proposed any exterior changes.
Right.
At all.
Everything was going to be interior, and they weren't going to do a lot of changes in that one.
Yeah,
It's
it's
indicated.
a lovely old building.
Yeah.
I've been in it many times.
But definitely the 270 Fair is going to have external changes done to it, which has to be approved by this board before they can move on with that.
So I don't have any real fears that they're going to, grossly, runoff is going to destroy something historic next to them or anything like that. All right, so thank you for calling these to our attention. We will not respond with anything extra. Thank you, Canada.
Okay.
On to other new business.
We just.
Why don't we, let Suzanne
Yep.
go, and then we can get to the meat of our other stuff.
So that sounds sensible. Come on, have a seat.
All right, it's my turn.
I'm in the process of attempting to purchase a building, and it was suggested to me that I better find out what the Historic Society is wanting there, because I'm financing most of the construction, and some of it will depend on what you'll approve or not approve. And also, what do I need to do the outside, and that might end up me not being able to do the inside, so I kind of need to know, you know.
Describe the building for us. It's the
Oh,
next one down the
the
hill, or are we
It's
going up
the-
on Beale Street?
It's 5 Abeille, actually, it has 4 addresses. It has 5 Abeille Street, which is where the original store was. And then on that's it. And on the Post Street side, it actually has another address. Actually, it goes from, I think, 8 to 11. And so it actually has 2
Street
fronts.
addresses,
Yeah,
okay.
I know. That's why when you're talking about what can be seen from the front, I was like, oh boy, I don't know. But part of my plan is to, I'm an antique dealer, and I've been doing shops for 30 years. And I've been in Skilly Pot. I've been running Skilly Pot since this is our 9th season. So now that everything's getting kind of tricky down there financially, I thought, you know, maybe I should secure something. And this came up, and I said, yeah, and I love the building. I've always loved the building. I thought it was a shame.
You're talking about this
Yes,
building?
that's the one.
You said the post on, but not the
That's
one
the
on the other,
Beale Street
yeah.
side, yeah.
And- So
That's-
just this one structure?
Yeah, well, no, it's a whole parcel, actually.
Okay,
It's 3 parcels.
And then the other parcels are on Post Street?
No, actually, the other half of that house is on Post Street, and that itself has a different address.
Okay, so you're talking about?
Yeah.
This facade
Has
and,
5.
and
And then
then,
the Post Street side actually has its own number, so it actually
oh,
has.
okay, so
yeah,
this,
It's who knows why, I don't know.
Okay.
So it has,
Lost in the sands of time, we're
I
used to
know,
that.
whatever happened, who knows, but,
Are the interiors separate? These are separate buildings that just happen to be adjacent to
they're,
one
oh no,
another?
they're all together.
They're all together?
Oh, you mean the whole, all 3 parcels?
Yeah.
No, but the 2 addresses of the same building is yes.
Okay.
The facade facing Abeille is
Mhm.
5 Abeille
Mhm.
Street, and then the rest of the house that's facing
Oh,
Post
Yeah.
is 10, I think, or 11. It's a 10, yeah, I think it's 10 or 11.
mhm.
And then there's an empty lot, and then there's a concrete, what was a garage that they converted into a apartment.
Mhm.
But most of the renovation, to my mind, was mainly on the inside. However, now that I know about the Historical Society, a lot has to, commission, I apologize, is a lot needs to be done. I mean, I dare say those windows are all vinyl, I would imagine, or broken, and definitely been replaced through the years. The siding is sort of a conglomeration. The Beale Street building is brick. And then on the 2nd floor, which is the actual Post Street address, is wood somewhere underneath there. And it sort of goes on an angle, so it's kind of hard to judge what exactly, but obviously that would all have to come off. You know, there's some vinyl, there's some, some kind of roofing material that looks like brick they use on the side of the house. I'm not sure
Okay.
exactly what that
I'm not
is.
sure that's real, I think that's,
So,
I think,
I
I think this is only, I
Old
think the brick is
shingle?
only on the
Okay.
first story.
Yes, the brick is only on the
That's
first
just a
floor.
facade, it's just a veneer.
Right.
So it's a frame building.
It looks like it might have been, it looks like it at one point was this nice little storefront.
Yeah.
It was actually, from what I understand, but I need to get pictures of it because I don't have an original photo of it, which I'd love to see, because I'd like to bring it back. And the downstairs, the lore was, and I found out from the guy they hired, when they were doing the sidewalks there recently, they redid the Bluestone.
Mhm.
They hired a man who was in charge of the, I don't know, historic nature of everything to watch what was coming out. I forget what his job was, but he said that that was an original butcher shop at one time, and he thought that the tunnel that ran down Beale Street actually went to this building. I guess they sent the animals down the tunnel and then the runoff.
From the forced meat packing plant all the
Yeah.
way down to Beale?
Yeah, and then the byproduct of the slaughter would just go right into the water.
All right, that is plausible. It was
That's-
a humongous operation.
That's what he said. Now, I don't know, I don't have anything anything to corroborate the story, but that's what I got.
Okay.
But my question is this, I wanted to put an antique shop on the main floor, turn the second floor that they had tenants into the second floor of the antique shop. So that would entail possibly having to put an exterior door on the side of the house.
So in
which
the
would be-
stairway.
And there's many sides, so which side are we talking about?
Which would actually be the back of the Beale Street side,
Okay,
okay, to
we're
bring
not
us,
a primary profile.
right, so we could have a door opening so we can get things in and out on the second floor more easily, and also people that are incapacitated can get, that are in wheelchairs and what have you, can get in and out of the store in a functioning way. So that's the problem.
We have approved in the past new openings on non-primary elevations. We can't approve anything without seeing what the plans
Oh,
are.
I'm gonna get it done.
Yeah,
This is just
but
preliminary.
in the past, we have approved new openings
Okay.
on secondary
Floors.
elevations, which
Right.
the rear side of the property would be secondary.
Yeah, I mean, it is, I feel from a business standpoint, it's important, and if they were ever going to put another tenant in there, I think it would also be important for the tenant. The other thing is the third floor, which is the little windows at the very top that you see on the
the
Post Street
gable?
side.
Yeah.
That is actually a third floor, what was part of an apartment at one time. So, if I put an apartment back, what I would do is, I think there's a possibility I would need a fire escape.
That is quite likely sounding from
Where
what
where
you
would the entrance
described.
to this apartment be, on the Post Street side?
It would be either, there is an opening already on the Post Street side from the front, and there's also an opening on the side. There's, if you can see the side where the
Yeah.
parking area is.
Yeah.
So the fire escape would be on the parking.
The fire escape would be on the parking lot side,
don't-
because that's the longest window.
I wouldn't think you would need,
You know,
because
The
it's
fire
only
escape
two,
wasn't seen in
you're-
Google Earth.
it's only a two-story.
Right, I was looking at the same thing.
Yeah, right.
Relative to the uphill side,
Yeah,
it's
I
only,
can
it's
see.
only the
Oh,
second
sorry.
floor.
Right,
not
it's
the
only
third
the
floor.
second.
Projected.
I think you would need a second means of egress, but
A
not
what?
necessarily, you would definitely need a second means of egress, but that's not one and the same as a fire escape, I don't think.
Oh,
So
okay,
that's
so
the-
you mean like
that's the
you could-
back.
they could jump out the window free fall?
Actually, the code does have emergency
So
escape
that's-
provisions,
that
but it's
bridge
very
is
highly
not
technical.
on
I'm not going to attempt
Okay,
to
yeah,
point it
just
right
make
now.
it
Yeah.
easy for me to understand, because,
Yeah, yeah.
I don't.
But
This is the Beale Street
it's not
side.
as bad as it first sounded, yeah, because you're,
Looks like it's just
you're
all
three
frame.
stories on one part of the structure, but only two on the other.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, so, I guess there's some question mark as far as having a fire escape on the outside.
Yeah, it'd be easy, I mean, you can put a fire escape on the two-story part, and have it wrapped towards the back of the building where it won't be seen from the streets.
Right.
Because the front of the building actually has an Beale Street address, and the front of that apartment then would be on a third story. It's not allowed to only have one access, which that's all it has right now
Yeah,
on
no,
the side.
you definitely need two means of egress, yeah.
Yeah.
You can't, I mean, from aesthetic looks, you don't want to put a fire escape on the front of the building.
No.
It's not going to look very well.
Well, there is the bigger windows, right?
Yeah.
What is
Like
that,
the
north,
gable-
I don't know what
you
that
have-
is.
You have the two gable ends, obviously,
Right.
the one on the Beale Street, the other one in the back on
Right.
Holmes, on Post Street in the
Right.
parking lot.
They're bigger windows.
Yeah, that is only 2 stories, but it's still part of that third story addition. So putting a fire escape on the back side would be more or less hidden from view. You could have it come out and kind of wrap around the back of that building. The building in the back there, if you think of where it comes up a Beale Street, it's an L shape, comes back there. It does have a courtyard where you can't see anything from the street. Even on Post Street, you can't see in the back on that courtyard. So for out of sight, you can have a landing up by that one gable window, which is a size big enough for an egress. And then have the stairs actually go down to the back side there and be kind of hidden at a,
Okay, so sort of wrap, it would then wrap around.
yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
or just consider either reconfiguring something on the inside
Yeah.
or adding a stair on the
So
other
it's
side.
tricky, that
I've
house
been through
is
the building, everything
Yeah,
is,
cut up.
nothing's to code.
Yeah,
However, there is provisions in the building code that allows you to keep items that aren't code if there is no feasible way of making them to code. There's a
It's
staircase,
old, it's an old house.
one staircase inside to go to that upper
right.
attic space there that was converted into bedrooms. It's the code, the stairs not to code. The treads are too narrow.
Yeah.
The staircase itself is too narrow. To make them bigger and to make it on code, they would go out the door. You couldn't stretch them
Yeah.
out long enough. So
Yes.
they're allowed to keep them in place. And that's what the residential code actually allows them to do there, the existing building codes.
Well, we could, like you said, maybe make a facade there and cover it up, you know, so they're not out, like, out in element kind of thing. So you don't have to
I don't know
look
if we
at
Yeah.
wanna build a major addition for a stair.
it. No.
You want it to just be, if it's a fire stair, let it be a fire stair, just let,
So metal and all that would be all right then?
well, I think
Is-
a fire stair has to be.
Yeah, it must be,
Oh,
and
it
it must
has
be
to be metal?
self-supporting.
Yeah.
Maybe there are other materials I'm not familiar with, but that's certainly the class.
So the metal would be, yeah, okay.
Yeah, but the location would be important to us.
To
We would
us,
be
yeah.
looking for you to make it as invisible from the street as possible.
Right.
Sort of tuck it back behind. if
Okay,
that
so
was the
bring
route
it
you were
this
going.
way and around,
That's Post Street.
and they would
This
just
is
get to the
yeah.
bottom,
All
okay.
right, that would be
This
the
is,
only design that I
this is
think we
that,
would be looking for.
Okay.
The question of cleaning it up,
Irish Cultural
what
Center.
we're interested in is just,
Yeah.
we're most interested in what's most visible from the public right of way. That is our real focus. And what we're trying to do is bring each building back to its,
Oh, I love that, I just don't know what it looked like back in the
So,
day.
It's gonna need a lot of research.
I haven't been.
yeah, you're gonna have to do some digging.
Yeah.
I have a,
Yeah, the building department is an excellent place to go, the assessor's office is an excellent place to go. There are
I have a
historical
cheat sheet I can
photographs.
give you, we have a list
sort
of
of-
all the places you can go to research your building.
Okay,
So I will give that to you. One place that's, the thing that's not on there that you should look at for the butcher shop, Friends of Historic Kingston,
yeah,
like 6 or 7 years ago, had an exhibition called Mom and Pop Stores of Kingston. And the PDF is Googleable.
Google.
Is that a word? Yeah, okay. It's accessible online.
If you Google Mom and Pop
Yeah,
Stores Kingston, you'll find a PDF that was put together by Google.
Friends of
Friends of Historic Kingston.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
And
Who
it
would
has it has 1 million storefronts in there.
okay, I'll look through that.
And grocers and butchers and bakers.
Yeah,
Look in there.
okay.
And then I'll send you the cheat sheet for researching how to research your historic home in Kingston.
Okay,
I'll send that to you tomorrow.
that would be great. And there was only one other question I had before, because I know you have other things to do. When you were talking to the other people about the windows, you know, we're gonna be on a budget. Well, we are on a budget. The second thing is, I have no idea what initially that house would have had in it. I mean, you're talking, you know, that house was very much so Greek revival. This thing is a conglomeration, what I can think of from years of different things. So I have no idea what style you would call this house.
I think that's where the research will come.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll
Yeah.
help you a lot. And if you get two really, really different ones, we'd ask you to try to harmonize it as best you can.
Yeah, because it's an oddball.
Yep.
It seems like to me that this building has morphed as the use has changed. So this building would be a little bit more open to variation, whereas some buildings like the
Yes, that was
Ruth
definitely.
Revival need a more holistic approach,
Right.
uniformity.
Right,
Your building wants to tell a different story.
we don't know what it
Yeah,
is.
you can see there are many
So come to us
layers.
with a story.
We're
Yeah.
gonna have to, we might have to make one up. But no, that's all I have on it. But I
Well,
think it's adorable.
We'll
I'd love to
ask you
make
to
it.
knit it out of whatever you find.
Yeah,
And we'll try and guide you into what we think is closest to the neighborhood
yeah.
story as we can make it.
Simple is better in my mind. I mean, I go for simple for everything. I think keeping things simple and makes it more accessible. So if I did anything, I would love to expose the original brick on the bottom. Maybe do sort of an off-white on the top, very subtle. And keep it simple because it does not have a lot of architectural interest.
It's gonna need,
So just keep it simple,
it's
right?
gonna need something done with the siding, right?
Yeah, the
'Cause-
siding has to come off.
So,
So, yeah, I mean,
yeah.
just one thing, like,
They also have vinyl on there, they have, I don't even know what some
I
of it is.
don't think that we would be very excited to see vinyl over the top of that,
No.
the,
Make your first stop,
Asphalt.
go to the assessors
Mhm.
downstairs on the lowest level
Right,
and ask to see the property records for this property.
All
yeah, they don't even
addresses.
have a survey. They don't even have
You'll
addresses.
see photos in there.
There
Yeah.
might be, okay.
And you may want to ask about both
Addresses,
addresses,
yeah.
so you get both sides
Right.
photos.
It's
Even
not
the
maybe,
third
there are
parcel,
absolutely photos in there.
Right.
even that third parcel, because there might have been something before that.
There
Concrete
was
block
something
garage.
in between, I think at one point in between the concrete garage, which is like 40s, I think, and the house. There might have been a large mansion there at one time, and there was also a huge mansion on the other side, which is now an empty lot, that's on Broadway. So I know something sat between these two things that were fairly big. So the other thing is, if we did take off the stuff, what is an appropriate acceptable siding?
It's
for-
probably got original clapboard or
You think it's
shiplap
something
under that.
underneath there?
There's probably something.
Yeah, a
That's
lot
your
of
best
answers.
guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a
Both
reasonable
ways.
presumption.
Okay, sounds good. So if we don't find anything there, what would we then,
Don't find anything.
no, anything?
You'll find.
There'll be something
I'll
under
find
there.
it.
Nobody would have.
No one took stuff off.
Yeah.
They just
I
covered
don't
it
know if
up.
I want to find
Yeah,
anything.
you've got layers there that
Oh,
you
there's
will
layers,
uncover.
there's some layers in that building.
You're gonna
Believe
be able to
you
tell
find
you.
a lot of interesting stuff.
We have no doubt.
Oh,
But
yeah.
it sounds like a great project.
Huh?
I love it, it's perfect.
I think so too. Well, that's what I do. So everywhere I go, I look at a building, oh, wow, that'd make a great antique.
It'll lend itself really well.
And I've been staring at this thing for, well, this is our ninth season, and I'm like, please, let's just do something with it, because I think it would be so cute. Anything really would do well in there, honestly, even if it was just an office.
Or a
Something.
butcher.
Huh?
Or a butcher.
Oh, no, I'm a vegetarian, it's not fun.
That's good, you're
We
replacing
can't even
the
fancy it up.
Yes, I'm changing its aura.
All right, sounds great.
Well, thank
Thank
you
you
all.
for
I'm
coming
sorry I
by.
interrupted all your meetings.
No, it's a pleasure.
This is
to-
1887.
Mhm, I had that one
So you
too.
have this one, okay.
Yep, I have all those things.
Sanborn, that's what it is.
Yeah.
You have the same
But you can
numbers
see-
digitized?
And
You never know.
basement,
What's in there.
first story,
You know,
2.5
sometimes we
story,
take pictures and.
1.5 story.
Yeah.
On the right.
And
Likewise,
so
yeah,
porch
that's
back.
how I did a
Yep.
run in West
Right
Virginia
there.
when I
And then
lived
it
there.
connected to a 1-story rear, and then there were
Okay,
3 stories.
so we have other business.
I have another
Right.
picture.
All right.
See how it's, see, that's gone. Oh, wait.
Uh-huh.
Which is, this is post reader, this is this building's gone, and that, I believe that building is. What year is this?
All right. Does
There was
anyone have
some
other
building
business
that
to bring to the
almost
board?
attached to
Members,
that
members, do we have other
building.
business to bring to the board? I've seen some emails. I have a
Counting
feeling people
87.
want to talk
We
about
do.
some other buildings.
Okay,
Okay.
one more question I forgot to ask. The building that's on there now, that's a concrete, 1940s block concrete garage.
Yes.
If we kept that a simple beige or something, would that be okay, even though it's not a historical building?
It is, yeah, we would ask you to try and do your best to make it tie in.
cohesive?
Yeah.
Okay.
And a lot of these structures
Got it.
are leaking.
All righty.
Thank you.
Thank
But
you.
thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh, love. And when you are ready and you get application materials started, you can either just come to me first and I'll sort of help you gather all the materials that we need to review. And we need materials in hand 15 days prior to our meeting in order to be on the agenda.
Okay.
And we meet the first Thursday of every month.
Right, I'll have everything. Do you also need like an architectural rendering of what the outside would look like, or can you imagine it?
Elevations and plans.
Would be a huge help, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Elevation.
We need that kind of
A site
detail to
plan.
be able to judge
And
what you're
photographs.
planning.
Site plan and photo.
That would be a huge help.
Okay, great, got it. Thank you.
Thank
I will be
you.
prepared, I promise.
You sound meticulous.
You know what, I'm learning.
This
I
sounds great.
can't honestly tell you that I know everything, because I, but I am learning.
And you're figuring it out as you go. This is
Yes.
the best anyone can do. I know that there's stuff that's been floating around by email. Does someone want to discuss any of that?
Yes.
Okay, what have you in mind?
Okay, so actually the first things are updates on buildings that got addressed by the Building Safety Department, Division.
Right.
So 52 Main Street got a letter, well, it was finished, so do we have any response for the illegal stoop that was put on 52 Main?
Does everyone know where we are next to the Uptown Post Office?
I don't know if Tom can answer this question for us.
They were issued a letter telling them that they basically put a porch on or a stoop on there without a building permit. They also did not have permission from historics, and to my knowledge, haven't responded to us yet.
Who is the owner?
The owner, I believe, is the Old Dutch Church.
Yeah, it is the church.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they can.
Sure does.
So.
Exempt from review or exempt from taxes? Taxes we can understand.
No, they pay taxes on it.
You have to pay taxes. It's an income property. Right now, there's.
So is the post office.
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe there's an insurance company in there right now. There might even be a law office in there.
Yes.
You know, there's an insurance company.
Yeah.
Whatever. So, I mean, it's an income property. They have to pay tax on it.
But since it's owned by Old Dutch, it maybe you have to wait for a trustees meeting to get a response, is what I'm hearing.
You know, why the work was done without permits, I don't know. They didn't come here to get permission to do it. They just decided they would remove the stone steps and landing.
No, they're still there.
Yeah,
They're
they
gonna- they're
Put
gonna-
wood up over the top of
Yeah,
it.
Yeah, it's sort of an odd thing. They haven't destroyed it, thankfully, but they also haven't restored it.
I wonder if any members of the Board of Trustees of the Old Dutch run the Friends of Historic Kingston.
You wonder.
Okay,
Who else? 44?
44 Coast Street.
Bye, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks. What has happened
The letter
there?
was sent along with a stop work order. They were doing work on the exterior of the building without a building permit or approval from historics. We gave them an application to come to historics. Was after the deadline for this meeting, so I'm assuming that they will be at the March meeting to present drawings, whatever.
Have they been responsive? I mean,
Yeah.
okay, that's important.
The day we went there, he came that day to get a building permit or what they needed. And I told him I can't give you the permit until you come before historics and get approval.
The stop work order was for the exterior, right?
Yes,
They're working on it.
On the inside.
interior's done.
Okay.
Well, no, they were working on it today.
That's a,
No,
no,
the interior's done.
actually, the contractor called today and said,
I have a picture of the truck open.
he called and
Mhm.
said that if anyone calls, he said, we're gathering all of our tools, we're packing everything up. He said, I just want to he said, if somebody keeps driving by.
She's my daughter, I really like the song I was playing. It was Ella Fitzgerald.
So he did call and say that. He said, I just wanted to let, in case somebody calls or says anything, he said, we're literally not, he said, we're packing everything up right now.
Good to
That's
know.
what he said.
I was just gonna.
Well, we don't usually get that direct a response.
That
I'm
is so
impressed.
funny.
Yeah, I drove by once.
And then lastly,
And can I just add something to that, though? That's another situation where a house that sold fairly recently is undergoing some major changes. We've talked about that in other meetings, that I think the house sold in January of last year. And so if we had some way to kind of keep on top of the real estate changes that are going on, because it seems like houses that got bought recently are the ones that undergo the most major changes. And some new owners may not know.
There's a huge lack of awareness of historic districts. I have had a hard time figuring out, discerning where the boundaries are, what the historic districts are. So that's like another point we're going to get you in a moment.
Good,
So
that's
let
what
me
I
just
was gonna
finish.
ask.
So the last one I have a question about is 62 Fair that had the fire. And do you know what the owner plans to do with that property?
Right now, all they have is a clean out permit. They haven't submitted any plans, as far as I know, to.
Is this one of the Sultanoff properties? I'm not sure where we are, 62.
Fair.
It's down near Franklin.
Yeah, it's a
Franklin.
three-family house. There's actually three addresses, 62, 64, and 66. The fire was in 66.
I think it's between Franklin and.
How extensive was the
Okay, then I'm
fire?
too far clear to
The
make.
fire destroyed the upstairs bathroom, so the bathroom has to get fixed. There was water damage down through the first floor kitchen. Right now, they're cleaning everything out, getting things down to studs. I don't even know if it's been, had an insurance appraisal in there to see, how much it's gonna cost to get it fixed.
It's a house salvageable?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's just basically the bathroom on the second floor is gutted completely. It was the fire started in the second floor bathroom. The water damage from putting the fire out on the second floor damaged the kitchen ceiling and the walls on the first floor. There was obviously the window in the bathroom got taken out, and there was another window in an upstairs bedroom that also got broken out. It's on the back side of the building, so they have to be replaced. There was smoke damage in it. The other two units in that building are back habitable again. They had to have some electrical work done to isolate the area there. When the fire department actually pulled up, like anything, the building was never intended to be 3 units. So they went into 64 up the stairs and started to go through what they thought was a doorway. It used to be at one time a doorway. They had framed it all back in and sheetrocked it, but they didn't bring it out level with the walls, so it was an indentation, which it was smoky in there. They felt, oh, this is the door. We're gonna have to break through here to get it. They saw there was a hole in that wall that, there was some electrical damage done there. When they thought that's how they got into that room. And they couldn't understand why the door wouldn't open, but it wasn't really a door. It was already a conversion years ago when they made it into 3-family. They just didn't make it smooth wall there. That's all. Like I said, there was work done to make the other 2 apartments have. First one was no problem at 62. 64, they had to do some electrical work to make it habitable again, and since then they have. The only work now to continue is at 66 where the actual fire was. Like I said, I have nothing to show you as far as what windows they want to put back up, which basically that's the only damage to the outside was the window on the bathroom that you can see, the window in the back. I don't even think you can see it from, honestly, it's not close enough to Franklin Street to see it from there. You have to go through somebody's yard to see it.
I used to know the owner who lived there, and she
I
lived
don't-
right in the house.
Oh, is the owner occupied?
I don't know if she still lives there,
I didn't get the
but
sense that it was owner occupied.
it might not be now, but at that time it was well kept, and I think it was only 2 apartments, 2 dwellings.
Yeah, it's 3 now. It wasn't, it wasn't a rundown apartment. Believe me, it was a beautiful apartment. It was a nice, well-kept apartment. It's just unfortunate they had a fire upstairs there. And they were fortunate enough that the fire department happened to be driving down the street and saw smoke coming out of the building.
Wow.
The fire department actually called in this fire. And that's why they were there so fast that they basically, you know, it just ended up staying in one room.
You see something, I say something.
That's right.
Thank you, Sean. So, next thing real quickly, we got an email from the state CLG
Program
program.
at the State Department of Parks Historic Preservation.
So,
on People's Island.
they wanted to let us know first and foremost that the New York Statewide Preservation Conference being held in Albany, April 26th to 28th. Leslie and I have been in the past. It's great meeting of all preservationists, bone preservation. There's going to be a special training session on April 26th, hosted by the National Alliance of Preservation Commissions, NAPC. And it's the CLG is offering scholarship for commissioners to attend this one-day training session with the National Alliance of Preservation Commissions.
That is something I would very much like to go to.
Me too.
I think if we can all go, we should all go.
It's nice that it's that close. Other times
Yeah, last
it's
year
been,
was in Rochester.
yeah, it can be
We
a
went
slow-
right
went
after
after
this meeting and it ended at like 9 or something.
Right. I remember you in the parking lot.
Yeah.
So that's the date. So the conference, the statewide conference is on the 27th. The 26th is the training workshop for commissioners. I will forward this to everybody tomorrow.
I'm sorry, which month is that? March?
April.
April
April.
28th.
Would we sign up together essentially as a group for this? Would we sign up together as a group for the
I
training?
have to look into it. I didn't click on the link.
Okay.
Do we have any budget for conferences?
We have $600.
Yeah, I mean, I
Oh, wait, but that has to be
don't know
used for
They-
if the
they
budget
have
can be used for
scholarships.
anything.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, if
So if we
we
apply too, we might,
win.
yeah.
I think it's worth
What's the
trying.
cost?
The cost of the conference itself is very doable. It's around $100.
$75 is the training session.
It's more what they're gonna do.
No, okay, sort of. As part of the conference, we will be offering CLG commissioners and staff a scholarship to the conference, which covers the $95 conference ticket and $75 training session.
Oh,
So they're saying that they will cover our costs.
Well, yeah, we want to ask, certainly.
Yeah, so I can follow up with Linda Mackey.
That'd be great.
Are we saying that 7 people are interested?
It's an all-day thing, right? Most of the evening.
And what day of the week?
It's
Thursday.
usually a Thursday, Friday,
The
Saturday.
26th is on a Thursday, 27th is a Friday, and 28th is a Saturday. Yes, it's Thursday.
But you don't have to go to the entire thing if you pay for the conference. We've just gone up for like
Yeah.
Friday and Saturday or something. I would love to go.
Okay. Well, I'll just say tentatively 7.
Yeah, I think that's wise. So are you interested? Or is that possible even for you?
It might be a possibility.
I think
8.
getting, yeah, I think it's worth trying.
Even if you just go up for the day of Thursday.
Yeah,
okay.
right.
Okay, great. So
That's what
I
I would
will,
be doing, so it's hard for me.
I will reach out to Linda and let her know
So
we're all
fast,
finished
you
with
keep
the
it
weekend.
Yeah.
So that takes, we got this email about the conference at the same time that they were sharing the application for the next round of CLG grants. I know we talked about this at past meetings and we felt, oh, well, we're not up to date with our previous grant project that we should, we have a chance at competing. I read through, they provided an overview of criteria, grant funding priorities, and the application process. I still think we can make a good pitch for something. Maybe we don't do another reconnaissance level or intensive level survey now until we complete the previous two, but we could apply for something else. And I know we also talked with the city grant coordinator, and that we need to get a list of priorities to the mayor first because her time needs to be approved by the mayor. The application deadline for this is March 19th. So can we just bullet point a few priorities and make a meeting with the mayor so we can apply for this funding? Because I feel like we have so many ideas, and why am I going to sit and wait another year?
Okay, I'd suggest not more than 3 or 4.
Okay.
Points per person?
No. Points total as a commission. I'm sure everyone will have 3 or 4. but-
How are we going to get them together? We can each.
I think, do we want to try and do this now? Do we
Yeah.
want to try and do this? I would like to go now, honestly.
I would too. So let me run through the grant priorities that they have. First, commission training. That's their highest funding priority. Next one is survey and designation. So it says priority will be given to projects that demonstrate or include the development of a comprehensive long-range approach to survey and designation. This approach often requires multi-phase projects, and these are strongly favored as they demonstrate long-term CLD commitments. So those types of projects include reconnaissance level surveys, comprehensive intensive surveys.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Next one, public education and outreach projects where there is a demonstrated need, which I think we can demonstrate. Examples are publications, workshops, and other such projects designed to raise public knowledge and acceptance of preservation programs.
I
local
like your
programs.
idea of the street
Banners.
signs.
Yeah. Actually, that might be the next one. No, that's right, it's in public education. The next one is local capacity building. Initiatives that will improve the municipality's ability to work with property owners throughout the review process, including support for the development of new administrative tools or application documents, training for municipal staff, or seed money for new commission staff. And then the final one is demonstration projects on critical statewide issues. Projects designed to provide model approaches to statewide preservation issues such as heritage tourism, economic revitalization, affordable housing. I think that's for other groups, not necessarily for our commission. Comprehensive land use planning.
Okay.
So,
Where does the digitizing of records fall?
I think public education, probably.
yeah. I think science would be public education. That's
And
The digitizing
yes,
of
absolutely, and it's sort of an announcement to every real estate broker who drives by, which right now, there was a time when we could go to a realtor's board meeting and hand out a map and it would get to most of the offices. That time is past. They don't have that kind of, brokers are coming in from Brooklyn that know nothing of the locality and linking up with somebody in an afternoon just to be on the seller's side. So there are lots of people pitching Kingston properties who
have no idea.
yeah, have absolutely no clue.
So let's start down.
That was one that caught my eye. I think training for us is another one, and we're asking for scholarships. Is this all part of the same ask?
Okay.
That seems separate.
No.
The scholarships for the
Okay.
Yeah, that's
preservation.
We'll get great
seminars.
training if we all go to that. That's
Yeah,
great.
and if they break us into workshops, we just want to make sure everyone gets into the different ones.
So,
And the digitizing of the records, that last email that you sent, the grant bill for digitizing records.
I'm gonna let Leslie talk about that in a moment, because she knows more about grant funding for archive projects. I don't know much about it, other than
Is that
it's-
different from
Yeah,
what we're talking
that
about
might be
here?
something separate.
Separate?
But I would also like to recommend funding for comprehensive historic district maps. Kevin McAvoy has gotten the process really far along, but he's kind of at a standstill because of a couple inconsistencies in the parcel numbering, and then where will this live? If we could create a standalone website that's simple and maybe even mimics the style, even though I don't like the city's government website look, but it's simple enough that just the maps that you can zoom in and see the historic districts. Or even if it's a PDF, quality PDF, computerized GIS level map.
I think that what I know of the sales process for people often begins with the county's public land records.
Mm-hmm.
So mimicking that
Okay.
might be even more immediately comprehensible to a new buyer or a broker looking at it than the city's own system. Relatively few
Yeah, we can be
people
more
use
just like
that.
a simple, basic, yeah.
It would be really nice to do both, to start maybe with the county because that's maybe more accessible, but then we had original conversations with Sue talking about who in the IT department in the city does any kind of GIS stuff, and if there is GIS work being done. We didn't get very far on that, but the work that Kevin has been doing is
You have an
GIS.
assistant too.
And so, we went to Rochester last year for the preservation conference, and they showed us, they'd done some really cool stuff with the city's GIS maps, where they could plot all of this information about this is a national, this is a nationally listed house, this is in a district. You could search, you could zoom. They did some
And
other
you had overlay of historic maps.
overlay of historic maps that were
Wow.
geo-referenced, and you could scroll back and forth and
That's
see your
fascinating.
house. They're willing to share that kind of information. We just need to work with the city. If the city has that kind of capacity, it would be really helpful if we were all looking at the same maps when we're saying you're in this historic district at all levels. So that would be a conversation. I don't know that it would be a CLG project necessarily, because I think we would have to, this would have to be one of our priorities that we would work, bring to the mayor first.
Mhm.
So,
Well, I know all of these have to be
Then,
brought to the mayor first, so, it would be public education though.
right.
And given the fact that there's basically no access to local historic district maps right now,
Right.
Yeah,
it
and the
kind of-
city
it's
has a
dire.
It is.
huge trove of these, everything from the old Sanborn maps from the early 1800s.
We have
There's
a lot of
amazing-
fabulous maps that a lot of other cities don't.
So we're
have.
not, I don't even think this would just get the basic map up. We could build on it with the historic maps. I don't know if we're looking to do everything at once, but at least just get public knowledgeable about the historic district.
Well, if we could partner with the city too, something that I think Mike Darcy had done, who's at RUTH now, when he wasn't affiliated at all, had just created a layer map in Google Earth where you could go, if you didn't know your ward, you could just go and type your address in and it would tell you the ward that you live in. So that's just a sort of helpful thing that could be incorporated too in the same place. If people are going and looking at their ward and also seeing they're in a historic district, those layers would be a very interesting and relatively easy thing to be able to have in
Mhm.
one place. So that could be a selling point for coordinating, these kind of things.
But then someone who's totally new to Kingston and looks and says, oh, this is my ward and I'm in an historic district, wonderful. Do they know what that means?
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything beyond that.
Well,
But
it
right-
depends. If it's online, you have the sort of map itself embedded. You can have any other context, links, any of that
Well,
information.
that's what I mean, yeah.
below.
So they understand then what that means to be in an historic
Right.
district.
So we have two things. We have street signs, we have digital historic district maps. I have been personally working on, and I got really far, but not finishing, general information about coming to the Land Rights Commission for our city website, because right now there's no information.
Right, this is a good.
And then I also would like to revise all the application materials so they're a little more up to date with what we need in order to review projects. A lot of the information that owners are asked to fill out are not really helpful for us. And, it said photos optional. We absolutely need photos. So we could make that a COG, part of the COG application, have somebody, a professional, help us create these forms and tailor all this information.
I feel like that will take a while if we do it as part of the grant application. And we're already changing, if we're talking about merging HAC and HLPC,
True.
then if you're going to do that,
Maybe
the work
we
should
need
be
to wait
sooner,
here.
or it should be deferred, I think.
Okay. That's good thought. And then, we have all the archiving stuff we want to do, which is,
I've been gathering all the old maps,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to get them all together so that I can get everything I can, and then I will share it. I don't know how much of this we can do ourselves and then put off, for the grants, what we can't do ourselves. Like the street signs, I think. would
the
be a
street
great
signs, I
idea.
think, would be like an easy grant, like that's a fairly straightforward.
Should it all be under the sort of guide, I mean, not guide, but the purpose of public education, trying to get better maps for folks in the city and also put street signs up to designate to sort of bundle those two
Mhm.
together for the same end goal?
So,
I don't know how helpful this is, but I used to be a real estate agent. I've been thinking about maybe going back just casually, and I can inform the real estate world as much as I have
Right.
contact with them.
We
about what we
used
need.
to show up at the realtors board meeting when they were having it down in the Rhonda.
Can you get us in?
And there were like 4 or 5 who were really, really active in the city, and the rest of the county didn't care. At this point, everyone comes everywhere, so it's really hard to target the way we used to. I remember Sophie Serpanlis was really good about telling people this. Other brokers not so good. I don't know that pattern anymore.
We have to figure it out.
Yeah.
so like realtor outreach plan, is that what we're talking about?
Also education.
Yeah.
Well, that's not, just, it's
Well, let
a
me
side
just write
note.
it down. So this is what I would like to propose, unless unless people have other suggestions to throw in the pot, because what I can do once we decide on what our main things are, I can write a little paragraph for each one, and we can make a meeting with the mayor
Mhm.
and have representatives. I wouldn't say all 7 of us go, but have a couple representatives go and present it to the mayor soon. So
Yeah,
the smaller we keep it, the easier it will be to pitch it.
and to schedule it.
You can get Kristen's help.
When the time is appropriate, can I ask a question?
Can you let us boil down a
whatever
little
it
more
is,
here?
appropriate.
One of the things I've been thinking about was having just like a table set up at like a farmer's market where we hand out information and ask questions. If people could ask questions for us. Because that brings in a lot of the new people to the area, and it's in the historic district
Do
already.
you think that somebody from Friends of Historic Kingston would join us?
Yeah, maybe, because they don't want to be members.
I don't know. I mean, I sort of thought of this as a follow-on to that,
Right.
that expo thing that we're supposed to be doing, right? Well, if we go to all the bother of, getting some materials to hand out and stuff like that, maybe we could continue doing this at like the farmer's market, which is,
Well, that makes me think that if we do get the better maps and get the digital map, then when we are at the farmer's market, we have an iPad, we volunteer, we take turns volunteering, at least for, maybe it's just twice a month we're there.
Right.
And like, this will help us explain it to the
Right.
public. I don't know if we need funding for,
The only thing I'm thinking about is if we do that, it'd be nice to have like some sort of a banner or something to like attract attention. If we're gonna be setting up a table and stuff.
You
Yeah,
can
the
wrap it
artists
around
in
the
our
planter
group.
for Sue.
What's that?
You can wrap it around the planter too.
I don't know. The Friends of the Library, we're also an organization that definitely could use some help, but we had a banner, and we would occasionally go to like the Kiwanis thing down at Kingston Point, and we would take our banner down, we'd take a table, we'd hand out books, and we would try to get some interest in the Friends group. That's kind of petered out because there's only about 3 friends left. But, and my wife and I got tired of doing it. But to have like something like that where you've got some sort of, something that people could walk up and see, oh, this is, if you're just standing there at a table handing things out, they probably think that you're.
We have about 4,000 of these. We can
Oh, yeah.
Until then.
So,
But it
so-
also just start the conversation of like, where do you research? Where,
Right.
we have materials that between us,
Right.
as a Historic Kingston, we could start sharing now
Yep.
and do before we got any money.
My thought on this is to reach out to Friends, because they are literally at the farmer's
Yeah.
market.
Okay.
And this should be really up their alley.
yeah, 12 people.
Well, but
in
one
the-
from, like, someone from
Us, yeah.
one of us, and someone from the Friends, if they were interested in doing that every weekend,
Yeah.
holding down the fort somehow.
I like the sign banner idea. I don't want to make it a private. We have so much more dire needed project funding.
Okay.
Funding, so.
Does anyone else have other things they want to throw in the pot, or should we start boiling this down?
No, I'm happy with the focus, that's good.
Yeah, that's
I think
my
that's
thought.
really good.
Okay, so we want to come up with 3 top 4 that we would like to pitch.
Well, we really only have 3 right now.
Then I think we've got a list.
Are we including the digitization stuff? I mean, I know that we have a
Um,
potential grant
This
opportunity.
isn't, I wanted,
Ooh, outside CLG.
yeah, and this isn't, this is just COG, so let's talk about digitization grants.
Right, so this was forwarded to me from Jane and from Marissa, sort of email chain was going around, and some other folks who are interested in the same things that we are, trying to figure out how to digitize some of the records, the either city records or make available some of the blue cards. And so there is another grant opportunity sort of outside of the normal state archives options and the CLG option. It's a library grant, it's a CLEAR grant, Council on Library and Information Resources. And this particular project is digitizing hidden special collections and archives. So these are very hidden, although they're also kind of public in some ways. So what this particular grant opportunity is interested in, it's really privileges collaboration. So, and I think collaboration between historic societies and municipalities and a couple of other sort of museum or archive related folks have been mentioned too, and I think RUTH was also mentioned in the context of this. I was trying to find the deadline on here, and there are a number of webinars that go through the next 2 months, sort of preparing the grant. It's $50,000 to $250,000, depending upon the level of the grant, and it doesn't start
Is
until.
there a matching or?
I didn't see any matching here, but this is just the preliminary information that I looked at. So I'm still sort of doing more research, but maps are included, architectural drawings, building records would be included. So, old photographs. So this is something that might cover a lot of the sorts of various records that we've identified that if we could consolidate them in one way or in one location, might be really.
Sort of on a side note, I've been trying to get Stephen Blauweiss, I think his name is, to contact Gene Dower, the guy that took all the photographs of the destruction of, to see if he would, I suppose he has 900 photographs. if he would be willing to let us digitize them. It's sort of, I'm sort of working with Jane and the Friends of Historic Kingston. If he would be willing to like let us, you know, digitize them and somehow try to keep his copyright rights and stuff
Right.
on that. But that would probably be quite expensive, right?
Well, it depends.
900 photographs to, I mean, we digitized like, I don't know, maybe 300 slides, and it cost us like $1,000.
Well, but, so it depends. If you're willing to do some volunteer stuff and you have a scanner and